Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Adam. You're watching Steady Invest. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Air Canada stock, ticker symbol AC, and it trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And I've actually talked about Air Canada before on the channel, and it was actually the day before the vaccine news came out. And I remember in the video saying about how Air Canada is burning a lot of cash and their financial situation. And of course, the next day, the news came out. Can't predict news. And then the stock went up however much percent. And don't get me wrong, I would love to grab myself some cheaper Air Canada shares, but it's just at these prices, I do see significant potential downside. All things considered with my strategy, Air Canada stock is one I'm willing to be greedy on, but I'm also willing to miss the boat if it does continue going up. Before we get into more details, if you haven't already, smash that like button. It helps my videos get out there. As well, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hit that subscribe button. And if you're in Canada and want to start trading with Wealthsimple or Questrade, use my links below and we'll both get free money. Now, onto the video. Alright, looking at the all-time chart first, you could have got Air Canada about a decade ago for just a couple of dollars or less. And over the decade, we saw some very nice growth up until about $50 back right before the pandemic. And it crashed from top to bottom. We saw about 75% down. And then we saw a little bit of a recovery and then it traded sideways for the better part of the year. And now it's trading in the low 20s more or less. And as of this video, the market cap currently values Air Canada at $7.66 billion. So one of the things I noticed, if you write Air Canada stock and look for any kind of news, the only thing you're seeing here is the Motley Fool Canada. So that's telling me two things. Number one, not much has gone on in terms of noteworthy news. The second thing this is telling me is that you can find an article on the Motley Fool that will back up what you already believe is true. If you look at the headlines, so this one's from today, Air Canada stock could crash again on February 12th, very specific. Is the stock currently a buy? Is another crash coming? What should investors do? Should you buy Air Canada? Is it about to drop? You're getting so much information from both sides. I'm not saying the Motley Fool is necessarily a bad place to get some information. And considering how many new retail investors there are, myself included. What I'm trying to say here, guys, is if you're doing research on Air Canada because you want to buy it for the long term, use more than just the Motley Fool because that's all we're really seeing right now. When you click on news. So the first thing to note is that Air Canada's earnings for quarter 4 are going to be sometime next month. It's estimated for February 16th. And earnings season is always a very interesting time with any company, really. And share prices tend to fluctuate around earnings time, so Air Canada will be no different. And after seeing a 70 to 80% gain and having it cool off afterward, it wouldn't surprise me if it was still overbought and went down during earnings, but anything could really happen again. Since we're on this page, just to make note of, look at the revenue for the last 2 or 3 years. So 4.33 billion, 4 billion, 4 billion, 500 million, 700 million. Disgustingly less than it was before. We're not even at a quarter of what it was before. This shows how badly airlines have been hurt during this pandemic. In 3 months ended September 30 in 2020 compared to 2019 when it comes to passenger revenues, 10% that of 2019. Whereas cargo, you see a little bit of a bump up year over year. And that's because Air Canada was like, hey, listen, we're not having that many passengers right now. How can we fill up these planes as much as possible to get some kind of revenue with as much cargo as possible? Even from other revenues, you see a huge decline, almost 80-90% pretty much. They did, however, reduce their total operating expenses from $4.5 billion to $1.5 billion during that same time period. But if you look at their operating income, they went from positive $956 million to negative $785 million. And when you put it together and look at their net income, going from positive $636 million to negative $685 million in 1 quarter. Now imagine 2 or 3 or 4 quarters in a row. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar swings. So there's no doubt, obviously, Air Canada's fundamentals have changed. But the most important question we're trying to figure out is, what will these numbers look like once it's recovered and how long will that recovery take? And when I see Air Canada trading about a year ago for $51 at the very best time for the airline industry, and all the economic conditions in their favor, and for that to be the exact opposite a year later, I really don't know if this is a fair valuation or not. And that's what everyone's trying to figure out right now. How much should Air Canada be valued at? But with that argument, they'll look at Disney. During the pandemic, they went from an all-time high to crashing about 40%. But look at where they're trading now relative to before the pandemic. Even with cruise lines still not sailing, even with the parks that severely reduced capacity. And a big part of this move is because of Disney Plus, but they're trading at a higher valuation than before the pandemic, and so much of their business has been hurt like Air Canada. And that's why I have a tough time investing in this company right now as it is. Because what's stopping the general confidence of investors thinking Air Canada is really overvalued, considering we don't know how much revenue they're going to have 6 months from now or a year from now? Again, depending on your risk and how much you really believe in Air Canada, should determine how you want to invest in this company. And for all we know, the government might or might not be helping Air Canada solve its woes. Is it going to happen? When will it happen? That's anyone's guess. Until then, Air Canada is going to continue cost cutting to survive. Now, looking at the 1-year chart, every candlestick here shows 1 day. Now, for me and my price targets, if Air Canada is above 20, I'm not that interested in it. Once we see under 20, then it'll be more interesting. But again, because of so much unknown in the industry, I don't know if I want to take that risk. But if you're looking to be in Air Canada for the long term, then whether it's 22 or 20 or 18 shouldn't really matter. And you should continue dollar cost averaging along the way down, being more aggressive the lower it gets. So all in all, I still am hesitant to invest in Air Canada, considering just the unknowns of the airline industry and how it will recover over the upcoming years. And considering the current global situation, the potential downside risk is too much for me, at least from a risk-reward standpoint. And Air Canada is a really popular company in Canada. It's a really popular publicly traded company in Canada. So if you're one of those people that do believe in it long-term and the recovery for it long-term, as long as you have a plan in place or you know what you're going to do when the price is up here or down here, then you'll be just fine. Do your research and do your due diligence. And let me know in the comments below, are you investing in Air Canada? Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.